Oh!
Okay, yeah.
Yo, can you take this? Can you take this?
What?
Dude. I just saw something around this corner.
I just heard somebody call out again.
Behind you. Look out there. What the f? Bro, that was directly behind you. Hello?
Scene.
Yeah.
Guys, we can't even go in there. Dude, there's even no like the little key.
Kevin, if that's you.
What? Whoa! Stop!
A chilling camping encounter proves that we are never truly alone in the dark. Today we'll show you terrifying proof, from a spirit box explicitly commanding campers to run, to massive, non-human handprints pressed against cabin glass. Are you brave enough to see what happens next? In June 2006, a YouTube channel called Pasquale uploaded a video that would go on to become one of the most debated paranormal clips on the internet. The channel's footage, filmed in a forest outside the town of Campdevànol in Spain, pulled in over 6 million views and sparked widespread discussion about what the two men actually encountered that day. The video begins with two men walking into a wooded area, camera in hand. For the first stretch of the journey, nothing seems out of place. The forest looks ordinary, and the men move through it without any sign of concern. That changes when they spot something on the ground. Scattered across the forest floor are a number of large feathers, not just one or two. There are enough of them to be noticeable. The feathers are unusually big, and it isn't clear what kind of animal could have left them there. No creature is visible nearby. The men continue moving through the trees. As they push further in, the camera pans across the surrounding area.
Es la última batería que me queda. Tío, es que por flipar, ¿eh? Mira. Es que, tío, yo qué sé, tío, se llaman plumas, tío. ¿No es uno? Home, tio, ja veus si sent soroll. Des de fa rato que sent soroll. Que sí, collons, que sí, hòstia. Ei, va, corre, llons, tia, va!
Then it catches something between the trees. A figure. It isn't moving much, but it's there, low to the ground, partially hidden by the vegetation. The men stop. The camera holds on the figure for a moment. Then the figure turns its head in their direction. The men run. The footage ends shortly after. Some viewers think what appears in that footage has a very human explanation, while others aren't so sure. What do you think was actually out there in those woods? In April 2026, a channel called Paranormal Discovery posted a video that quickly caught the attention of viewers interested in the unexplained. The channel follows a solo camper named Lamar, who documents overnight stays in locations he believes hold paranormal significance. In this upload, Lamar made a deliberate choice to return to a spot in a remote forest in Nova Scotia, a place he had previously called a Wendigo den.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another haunted campout. Now, just right out of the get-go, I did something really stupid. I actually pulled up to the exact spot where I took Chels. This was the night where actually Kia got freaked out and Chels got freaked out, and we actually had to leave and pack up. I'll show you guys in a moment. You guys will be familiar with this spot. However,
Lamar set up his tent in the exact location where, on a previous trip, he and others had heard heavy breathing coming from the dark outside their camp. That night had ended with the group leaving early. This time, he came back alone.
can I go? I can go back to that, spot in the deep forest, set up the tent again, but I'm like, it's not enough. It's really not enough. Let's go back to that spot where we set up the green bell canvas tent. So I had it actually right here. You guys may be familiar with the...
At first, the woods were quiet. He got his tent pitched and settled in. But as the light faded, something changed. A heavy, nauseating feeling came over him. His instincts told him he was not alone, and the atmosphere around the camp felt different. Tense, watchful.
Guys, I don't know what this is, but I think I have to call it quits. This is not a good feeling. I'm gonna have to come back with Chels to do this, because right now, I don't know what's around me, but on top of that, I'm getting this sick, nauseous feeling. Sorry, baby, sorry. I'm just gonna listen to my spiritual side of things, my intuition. This is really weird.
Then, pressed directly against the canvas of his tent, came the sound of slow, rhythmic breathing. He checked outside. Nothing was there.
Okay. I'm just gonna... What the hell? Oh, that hurt.
Shortly after, his paranormal equipment activated on its own while still in his pocket. It had not been touched. A distorted audio output came through, producing the words, "Get out." Lamar's body began to shake. The feeling was not fear he could reason through. It was something deeper, physical, and hard to describe.
Okay, I think this warrants an exploration. So, give me 1 second. Hello?
He stepped outside to investigate. From somewhere in the brush, a loud, low whoop rolled through the trees. It was followed by a whistling sound. Unlike any bird, the sounds moved. Whatever was making them was not staying in one place. It was circling the camp.
This is weird now. There's no birds, no nothing. Like, what the shit? Whoa. That was a whoop. I heard that. It's coming from deeper in.
Lamar began packing up. He noted that the nauseous feeling, which had briefly eased, was starting to return. He left before midnight.
Like, if you're in the States, or if you're in New Zealand, or Australia, or Ireland, so many things, so many animals. There could be, like, spirits of dinosaurs, but it's the land that's haunted. I don't know, I think that's just, like, where my head's at. The issue is right now, the reason why I'm kind of packing up is because of that feeling. It feels like it's kind of coming back. It kind of feels like it's slowly, not as strong, but...
Lamar had been to this spot before, and knew what it felt like on a normal night. Whatever came through the tent that night was something he hadn't prepared for. Do you think the land itself can hold something that doesn't want to be found? In July 2025, a channel called Jasco posted a video documenting a paranormal investigation in a location with a deeply unsettling history. In this video, Jasco and his friend Chris drove out to spend the night in a forest locals refer to as the Satanic Ritual Forest, a place rumored to be connected to disappearances and ritualistic activity. The forest had a reputation. Locals in the nearby town linked it to satanic and animalistic rituals, and there were rumors that some people who entered never came back out. Personal belongings had been found along the trails. A week before this trip, Jasco had walked one of those trails alone and came across ripped clothing left on the ground. He came back with Chris to go further in. They parked their van at the edge of the woods and used it as a base.
You're going to be camping overnight inside of a forest where the locals in the town nearby call the Satanic Ritual Forest. Reason for that is because, well, satanic rituals occurred here. Animalistic rituals. Once you hear the history about this place, you'll understand. And there's also rumors that human sacrifices were made in this forest because some people went into this forest and never came out. People are trying to connect the two, the rituals, the people going missing, and people's personal belongings have been found alongside the trails. And hell, came across some ripped shirts, clothes down this trail over here. He so generously said that he'll come with me and we'll go further down this trail and try to uncover more dark secrets about this forest.
Moving down the trails, they found abandoned sites with wax-sealed boxes and torn clothing scattered around. A spirit box they brought along began producing warnings almost immediately, outputting phrases about a female presence watching them from the trees.
Devil dogs. Devil dogs, it just said. This is like the bag.
So I'm taking a picture quick so we can reference this later. It's just so weird. Like, we have to explain this to like a forest ranger.
Well, if there's any personal identification in there, maybe we could identify who got decapitated.
Inside the vehicle.
I'm inside the
Inside
vehicle?
the vehicle. You said you saw something up there?
I swear to God, someone covered up your light.
I
Someone
locked
walked by
it
your
before
light.
it came down here.
Can you set the alarm off or anything?
Further in, the two played a call and response game, making sounds and waiting. Something in the dark replied with the exact same pattern.
So, ready? Chris, close your eyes. Close mine. Behind you. Behind you.
Turn around. Okay, I'll turn around.
What the f? Bro, that was directly behind you.
Hello? Could you do that again?
It's a whistle. Okay, so if clapping behind you, try it again.
Then the spirit box produced Jasko's name, a name neither of them had spoken aloud during the session. Back near the van, something struck the exterior. The sounds around them grew louder and seemed to be moving closer. The camera caught a dark shape shifting across one of the trees nearby.
Okay. Melissa, you said you were wounded. It said decay. What is that?
That's what I heard.
Is someone down there?
Probably nothing to worry about.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
Gregory is a man.
I would assume.
That's fair. You can't assume that, Chris. Sorry. Okay, well,
I will.
like something back of the van. Right? It's not like something hit the van?
Yeah.
Ominous warnings.
Move your flashlight again, left or right?
Brush holes accused
That
of the
definitely just
past.
caught a shadow figure.
You saw a
The
shadow
camera
figure?
Saw it. The camera absolutely caught that. It was literally on that tree right there in the middle. You replicated it. Your light didn't do what I saw.
No?
It was a shadow figure that moved across that tree.
Then a handprint appeared on the van window from the outside. Seconds later, a loud scream came from the brush. They got in the van and left. As they pulled away, the camera picked up the outline of a figure, a woman in a dress, standing at the tree line, watching them go.
What the fuck? What was that? I don't know. Listen. Chris. Chris, it sounds like someone's walking outside the van. Oh!
Okay. Yeah.
Yo, can you take this? Can you take this? No, that doesn't make sense. That sounds like something was like rushing towards me.
Every piece of equipment they brought that night responded to something, and not all of it can be written off as malfunction or coincidence. If you were the one behind that camera, would you have stayed as long as they did? In November 2025, a channel called Moxley's Paranormal World posted a solo overnight investigation inside a location known as the Whailing Woods, a forest with a long history of reported shadow figures and demonic activity. The video follows the creator as he camps alone through the night, despite warnings that the place is not safe after dark.
Tonight, I'm going to be staying here and doing a solo camp inside this haunted forest.
He arrived as the sun was going down and began setting up camp. The area already had a known reputation. Visitors had reported being stalked by shadow figures moving between the trees, and demonic encounters had been documented there before. He got a fire going and settled in for the night.
Let's go find somewhere to put the tent out, get a fire going, get a coffee going, and then we'll talk about some of the stories. Even something demonic has been reported inside this place, so it should be a good night. But the sun is just about to set.
Before long, a local woman walking her dog approached him. She had seen him setting up and stopped to warn him directly. Her message was clear: the forest was active at night, and he should not be there alone. He noted the warning and stayed anyway.
Right, so I've just been speaking to this woman here for a good 5 minutes. She was asking me what I was doing, so I said, I'll be camping out here. Been a lot of reports of paranormal hauntings. She just advised me, she said, don't camp out here. You can hear her talking to somebody else. Yeah, she was like, don't camp out here, especially on your own. Because this place is active at night. Let's see what happens.
Later that night, he ran a spirit box session and asked whether anything demonic was present in the woods. The device returned a single response: the year 1870. Nothing else came through. He sat with that for a moment, unsure what event, if any, tied that year to the location.
A little cheeky spirit talker session. Let's ask some unusual questions. Is there something demonic out here in this forest? And if there is, why? People have been left scared, not willing to come through this forest due to
1870.
1870. That's an interesting year, isn't it? 1870. Can you come forward, tell me who you are? That's just the wind. Are you a demon? I swear to God, I just heard talking again. Hello? $18.70, that's the only thing that's come through.
At around 3:10 in the morning, he took a photo near the fire using a self-timer. When he looked at the image, something appeared just above his head, a dark shape that looked like a figure running past. He had been facing the camera at the time, and nothing had been moving behind him.
Just around the fire, I'm just doing some pictures for Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. We're just going on, 3:10 in the morning, and I just took this picture. I will put it up on the screen as well. Just look above my head. You see it? Doesn't that look like somebody's running past? Me, honestly. There's nothing there to do that. So I was like this. Just trying to get the tent and the fire and that in. Right, can we zoom in? I will put it up on screen so you can have a proper zoom.
Shortly after, a low moan came through the air. It happened a second time. The spirit box then produced a command to run. He stayed in the tent but did not sleep easily.
Do that light out. I'm looking for other torch lights. Other torch lights. What the f***? Did you hear that moan? Did you hear that moan? There's something here. I can feel it. This is not normal. What the f*** is that? That's the second time I heard that. That is the second time I heard like somebody was moaning in the picture. How mad's that?
He finally got into the tent around 5 in the morning. When he came out a few hours later, everything was covered in frost. He packed up in the cold and left.
I got in the tent around about 5 o'clock in the morning. I've had just short of 3 hours sleep. Just got up, done myself a coffee. I got out the tent and it was just all iced over, as you can see. So I've just started packing stuff away, so just put the tent away. It's very fresh.
A stranger's warning, a year with no explanation, a shape in a photo, and sounds with no source. Each one alone might mean nothing, but together they're harder to dismiss. What do you think tied that year 1870 to those woods? In April 2026, a channel called Hype Mike posted a video documenting a 24-hour stay inside a cabin deep in the Appalachian Mountains, a region widely regarded as one of the most paranormally active areas in North America. The channel covers outdoor challenges and paranormal investigations, and this trip took them into one of the most storied and unsettling stretches of wilderness on the continent. The Appalachian Mountains stretch nearly 2,000 miles across the eastern part of the continent. The land carries stories going back hundreds of millions of years, and long before modern search and rescue existed, native tribes spoke of something in these woods capable of making people disappear without explanation.
The Appalachian Mountains is often considered one of the most haunted and ancient wilderness that spans nearly 2,000 miles across the continent. Go back nearly 500 million years. Native tribes warned us about something in this forest that was capable of making people vanish without a trace.
Locals still talk about thin places, spots where the boundary between the physical world and something else is said to be unusually fragile. People have gone missing here, leaving search dogs at a dead end and trails of footprints that simply stop.
Hour? Yeah, it's been an hour, guys. If you're just joining us, we're at one of the trails in Appalachia, and apparently this is the parking lot that's going to lead us to the haunted cabin. But we're doing it anyways because we love breaking the rules. You can see there's no cars here.
When the group arrived at the trailhead, they found it closed. An active search operation was already underway in the area. They continued in anyway.
The ground right now, so.
And apparently the trail that we're looking for is up that hill. So there's like this sign thing here. So let's check that out.
Okay. Oh my God.
We're actually here.
Heck? This is crazy.
Like I said earlier,
the trail's closed.
The trail is closed, guys. We are not allowed to be here, but we're doing this anyways.
Not long after entering the tree line, the forest went completely silent. The shift was sudden and total. According to accounts connected to this region, that kind of silence is said to mark the edge of a thin spot, a place where sound behaves differently, and the normal rules of the physical world begin to loosen.
Wait,
You heard that? That was weird.
That's one of the things they say. What? If the forest goes quiet, that means you've already entered the thin spot.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Like it's eerily quiet.
And here, sound travels completely differently. There are portals to different realms.
What? Do you think I want to?
Things can get summoned?
I already have like chills down my spine, and I have a weird feeling about this.
Then they spotted something in the snow ahead. It looked like a rock at first, but as they got closer, the shape became clearer. It was a boot, a single boot, sitting alone in the middle of the trail with no one around it.
Yeah, just like that.
Makes sense.
You mean like that?
Whoa!
Logo.
There's a logo.
Wait, what? Oh, Jesus! Okay, well, look at it. Holy shit! It's actually a boot.
It's a boot? What? Dude.
There's a logo on it though.
Here, bring it here,
Here.
Wait, what the hell? No way.
Dude, look at this. I'm fully in here. Grab this.
They kept moving and eventually reached the cabin, but the porch stopped them. Yellow crime scene tape had been stretched across the entrance, and numbered evidence markers were placed on the ground, the kind used to document a scene that is still under active investigation. The markers indicated the exact spot where the most recent hiker had last been seen before vanishing.
No way.
Oh shit. I'm seen.
Yeah.
God, you can't even go in there.
Dude, there's even the like the little key thing.
What the heck?
Maybe we should not be here?
Well, maybe because they're still investigating the girl's disappearance.
Oh.
Well, we shouldn't be here. The guy told me I'm allowed to be here.
Maybe this was before
They did not go inside. A closed trail, a boot with no owner, and a cabin wrapped in crime scene tape. And somewhere out there, a search was still ongoing for someone who walked in and didn't come back. If you had made it that far, would you have turned around at the tape? In December 2025, a channel called Exploring with Bear posted a video of an overnight camping trip into a frozen forest, a place the channel had visited before, and one that viewers had come to know as one of its most unsettling locations. The video follows Bear and his camping partner as they set up in the snow, only to realize something else was already using the same ground. The two arrived and began making camp. The forest was cold and snow covered the ground in every direction. It didn't take long before they noticed something wrong.
Welcome back to another camping adventure. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jer Bear. Tonight, I got bee camping with me in probably one of the scariest places I've ever camped, where psychopaths attack.
Right next to where they had set up their tent, there was blood in the snow. Not a small amount, enough to suggest something violent had happened there recently. The area around it showed signs of a struggle. They moved further out to check the surroundings. In a different spot, away from camp, there was more blood.
Blood, man.
That is blood.
What is that? What happened here? Is that dog prints? What happened? That's right by our camp, man. You know what's crazy? More blood, man. This is a whole different spot. Way different. You know what's crazy? Where's the track? What happened here? What happened? Okay.
Then, near the lake, they found tracks. The prints were large, noticeably bigger than what a wolf would leave behind. They spread out across the snow in multiple directions, overlapping and circling. Something had been moving through the entire area, and based on the blood, it had not been doing so peacefully.
Look how big that one is.
Look at that dog print. That thing is, that's got me nervous, man.
That's a big dog.
That thing is huge. More blood. Holy smokes, man. Man, there's something going around just killing stuff everywhere.
Later that evening, while food was cooking over the fire, a sound cut through the dark. It was high-pitched and unlike anything that fit a known animal. Not quite a howl, but close. The forest produced it once, then went quiet.
Darn good warmer, though. Did you hear that? That was like a... How do you describe that? It was sort of howlish, but super high-pitched. See if it does it again.
The two decided to play a death whistle into the trees. Shortly after, something began moving around the perimeter of the camp. The sound came from a consistent direction and kept returning.
you just hear that? Man, it keeps coming from the same direction.
Them sausages were a good idea.
I'm like the perfect fullness. I could actually get ready to maybe lay down.
At 3 in the morning, they heard it again. Slow, heavy footsteps just outside the tent walls. Whatever had been moving through the forest earlier had found its way back to camp.
I hear something out there. Oh. No. Just listen. I think there's something walking out there. And that freaking shoulder.
The tracks, the blood, and the sounds at 3 in the morning all pointed to something with size and purpose moving through that forest. What do you think was walking outside that tent? In December 2025, a channel called Twin Paranormal posted a video of an overnight investigation deep in the rural Appalachian Mountains. The channel focuses on testing paranormal legends in some of the most isolated locations in the country. This trip brought the team to a stretch of the Appalachians known for stories that locals take seriously enough to stay inside after dark.
The Appalachian Mountains, I know, are one of the most mysterious. Whatever it is that is out here, it has been documented for many years, it is very real, and we're in trouble.
Think about this, guys.
Before entering the area, the team laid out a simple set of rules for themselves. If they heard their name called, they were to ignore it. If they heard whistling, they were to ignore it. If they heard crying or laughing, same response. The reasoning was straightforward. Something in those mountains was said to mimic human sounds to draw people in.
All this way just to find out if we are going to make it throughout the night here in the Appalachian Mountains. If you hear whistling, you didn't. If you hear crying or laughing, no, that will pretend to be something just to draw your attention.
They made their way to a cabin sitting miles from the nearest town. Almost as soon as they were inside, the walls began to shake. A heavy rhythmic thumping moved around the exterior of the building. There were no animals visible outside, and the nearest signs of other people were roughly 25 miles away.
That is so scary. We just got done with the intros. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Dude, that is like something is surrounding this cabin. The only way we're gonna be able to find out is if we go out there, we set a camera.
The nearest town from where we are right now is about 25 miles away.
They checked the windows. On the outside of the glass, pressed against the panes, were large handprints. The prints were bigger than a human hand. One of them appeared to be missing a finger.
I have no idea what's happening, but if that actually happened when we came in here...
They're like decently large. Those are pretty big handprints. It almost looks like one is missing a finger.
Way bigger than my hand.
Maybe somebody was trying to look through? That would kind of make sense.
Or like shove the door closed or something.
I'm just gonna close this, yeah? Wait, don't close it yet.
Look at this real quick. If the door was closed and someone was outside, the hands are like they're trying to see through the gap.
Oh my god, actually, oh my god. That just gave me the chills. Did you hear the voice? Did you hear the voice?
Inside, their equipment began responding. A distorted voice came through the spirit box. Then came 3 knocks at the front door, slow and deliberate.
Look behind what? The door?
That was behind you.
Shut the fuck up. This is getting really bad. We might actually be in danger right now.
Kevin, if that's you.
What? Whoa! I'm sorry. I just yelled. That is so fucking scary. We have never gotten anything like that ever. Don't stop. Oh my god, dude. Was someone just trying to open that? No. Again? What is happening? I'm done.
Do that. 3 knocks.
I don't like that.
One of the team members, Ryan, stepped toward the hallway. A shadow in the shape of a hand reached around the doorframe and disappeared before anyone could get a clear look at it.
Entity! Oh my god, why did you do that? Why, you do realize that this thing's probably like mapping you out. This is what he sounds like. I'm gonna make sure I sound like him, look like him, and I'm gonna lure his friends to their death.
What?
Dude. I just saw something around this corner. I just saw a fucking hand right there. I promise. That was terrifying. We don't have a camera in this room, huh?
Do you think that's going?
The team went outside to locate the source of the sounds. Instead, from somewhere in the trees, came a shriek. Loud, guttural, and unlike anything with a clear animal origin. They pulled back toward the fence line, unsure whether whatever had made the sound could get through.
Go back.
Wait. What the f was that?
I don't know.
Hello? Wait, what the f was that?
I have never heard a noise like that anywhere in the world.
Where are you? Do it again. Why is this happening?
I am more scared than I've ever been in my whole entire life.
Tree. Behind a tree. Guys, the whatever it was just came from this direction, right? It can't get through this fence, right? Make that sound again. Something is watching us.
I feel like the forest is mad at us.
The handprints, the knocks, the voice, and the shriek in the trees each happened separately, but they all pointed toward the same direction. What do you think was circling that cabin that night? On November 29th, 2025, a channel called Exploring with Angelo posted a video of an overnight trip into the Nova Scotia wilderness. The channel covers outdoor exploration and paranormal investigations. This particular video took Angelo and his crew deep into a stretch of forest, tied to a series of disappearances from the 1970s and the legend of a man named Elias.
Fifth person vanished, and they found the remains of this dude Elias's cabin. Apparently a diary with one legible sentence that said, "The woods keep what I give them."
The history of the area started with a man named Elias, who had worked deep in the forest near the Ingram River decades earlier. He kept entirely to himself, sleeping in a rough shelter built from dead fallen bark, and never came into town even on weekends. Other workers regarded him as a hermit. Between 1971 and 1974, 4 people were reported missing in the surrounding area: a birder, 2 loggers, and a teenage hitchhiker who had been heading to Halifax. When a 5th person vanished, the RCMP pushed deeper into the forest than they had before. They found what remained of Elias's cabin, and inside it, a diary. Only one sentence was still legible: "The woods keep what I give them." Angelo and his crew entered the same forest with that history in mind.
I did a little bit of a deep dive over the last couple of hours. There has been rumors of a potential serial killer. The main story kind of appears to happen in the 70s.
Okay.
Where like 4 people disappeared. There was another person and some other 2 people.
That's fitting for the 70s, hitchhiking is.
But apparently in the early 70s, back when the logging roads were barely more than muddy tire track, a man named Elias worked deep in the forest near the Ingram River. He was quiet, strange, kept to himself. Other workers said he slept in a shack built in the deadfall and bark, refused to come into town even on the weekends. So there was several disappearances in this area between 1971 and 1974. 4 people were reported missing.
During a spirit box session, the device began producing names: Agatha, Patricia, Grace, one after another, with no clear explanation. The group had been in the area all day without hearing anything unusual, but later, while settled at camp, whistling drifted in from somewhere in the trees.
It was "The little girl likes you." I don't know who this little girl is, but I'm gonna put this in my pocket. Lungs.
Oh, that was your fault?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Positive.
It sounded like it was behind me.
What do you mean by lungs?
Hope.
Hope?
Agatha.
Who's Agatha?
It's not me.
Okay.
Okay.
Grace.
Is that another name, Grace?
I get it in my pocket without taking my phone off, but yeah, it said Grace.
Patricia.
That's where I'm hearing whistling again. It was really creepy because all day we were here, we didn't hear a single thing. It was quiet. Then we heard it again, and then that's when I found the story of apparently that happening. Is there something out here that's whistling at us?
Moving further in, they came across a structure with every window completely blacked out. An unsettling clicking sound came from the brush nearby. They decided to leave.
All the windows are completely blacked out.
Okay, we should probably, not be here.
This just got really weird. You probably shouldn't come up here. This is my bad. Can we go back down this way?
Sure, I think it leads out the same way anyway. Doesn't look like anyone's been here in a while.
No. There's a flash of light down there.
Oh, great.
I don't know what's, this is anchoring something. Let's just get the fuck out of here. I'm getting a really weird feeling.
Everything having blacked out windows is kind of bothering me. Why is there no windows?
On the way back toward their vehicles, A voice called out from the dark. It seemed to follow them from the direction of the lake.
It might be. Oh, is this it?
You guys just hear somebody like call out?
Yeah.
This is exactly where something happened when I went the other day as well.
Oh, really? I don't know if somebody's in there.
I didn't see any living being, but... Hello?
Then, up in the high branches above the trail, a pair of glowing eyes reflected back at them. A large owl, motionless, watching as they moved out of the forest.
Oh, here, look, a campfire. I just heard somebody call out again.
Yeah, what the hell?
You hear that?
Yeah.
Hello?
What the hell?
Is it an animal or it sounds like a person?
It's kind of hard to tell. It's really faint.
Have you ever found carvings like in the trees of faces?
No, I never actually paid attention to this.
A diary with one sentence, names from a spirit box, and a voice that followed them through the dark. None of it connects cleanly, but none of it feels random either. Do you think Elias was the only thing that ever called those woods home? That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.